I'd like to call the Transportation and Environmental Services Committee meeting to order and welcome those that are watching online. Our first item of business is to ask for a declaration of pecuniary interest. Seeing none, we'll move on to the action items. The first one is a budget transfer for underwater pier inspections, and I'll turn it over to Miguel.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. We've noticed that as we were reviewing our program for bridges, and can take into account the climate change that in the spring, it's very likely that we may get an event with higher water levels in some of our rivers. So normally we could have planned some of these inspections for next year, but we didn't necessarily want to wait till after the spring, so we wanted to go ahead and look at some of those bridges that have been identified with some scouring issues on the piers and inspect them, send divers to inspect them in the November, December, before the ice, and so that they can look at the piers and identify if we have some issues to deal with, or if we should be prepared to deal with some issues.
Okay, thank you, Miguel. I have a recommendation that approximately $35,000 plus HST be transferred from bridge reserves to fund the underwater inspections of 5 bridges as recommended in the BM Ross and Associates report, and that BM Ross and Associates be awarded the underwater inspection work. You have a mover and a seconder, Ann and Mike. And discussion? Paul.
So that's, I support the motion, of course, that that's 7 bridges at the 35,000. Is that the start of it? Like, do we have 20 more that should have the same inspection as soon as possible? We're just going to get started with these 7 for now, or?
Thanks, Mr. Chair. It's for 5 bridges, and those are actually all the ones that we have identified with this particular problem. Now, part of the bridge inspection process, when we inspect the bridges every 2 years, they do recommend other testing and other bridges. So we do have some other recommendations to follow up as well, but for those we're going to wait till next year and following years to schedule them.
Okay, thank you. Are there any other questions? All those in favor of the motion? Opposed? Motion is carried. Next item is revised winter maintenance level and service. This is attached for your inspection. I have a recommendation that, where do we go here? Opposed? Carried. And we'll move on to winter maintenance staff recruitment shortcomings. I have a recommendation. This winter maintenance staff recruitment shortcoming report is for information. And I don't need a mover and a seconder. Any questions or comments? All right, that I think is the end of our agenda. I have a motion that in accordance with the procedural bylaw, staff be authorized and directed to give effect to the actions of the Transportation and Environmental Services Committee in respect of all resolutions passed during the October 18, 2018 meeting. And I'll ask for a mover and a seconder. Robert and Ann, all those in favor? Opposed? Or carried. And we need a motion to adjourn. Mike and Mitch, all those in favor? Carried.